You can't wave dash in Mechwarrior 5.
Imagine, though, my God, a mech's just wave dashing across the battlefield.
Sliding across. Yeah.
Metal Gear. Take it away, Chase.
Hey. Hey. We're on this one.
Oh no. Oh no, he needs help. Someone get him help.
This kid's dying out there. Somebody get him something.
Is that Pikachu over there?
It was, yeah, actually. The Pikachu's taking up a career in the stage.
The stage.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, we're making this again. It's the podcast thing that we do.
We're back.
We're back. Yeah, depending on when you, the listener, listen to this, it may seem like we didn't leave at all. Maybe you're just like listening to one episode back to back, but here we are, back in your ears once more.
No. I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, you didn't like that.
It reminds me of Animorphs.
Me saying we're in your ears? Oh, yeah, because of the fucking earworm
The slugs,
thing,
the ear slugs.
Yeah. And
That
it seems like Animorphs.
They gave me a phobia.
I was about to
child.
say, yeah, Animorphs seems to have had a pretty a significant effect on your fears as an adult male.
I definitely internalized a lot of Animorphs. I internalized a lot of it. Why? I don't know.
Turn from a human to a bear and then back again.
The holographics on the covers that would do the morphing for you.
Yeah, I really enjoy those covers. They're very evocative. I really like that.
They're very evocative, but I would get stuck on like the in-between portions and just like be grotesque and like
it's scary.
Weirded out by it. I'm like, oh God.
It's scary. It's got, sort of a, like, what happens if you don't finish the morph? What happens then? Are you stuck in that, like, I've got a bear snout and human hands and, like, I'm tall? Like, what happens there?
I feel like the answer in Animorphs would be yes, you're fucked.
Yes.
Because that kind of seems to be their answer to most things. And then also PTSD and war is bad.
Yeah, I feel like we may need to make like a side podcast where we read Animorphs and figure out like what the fuck is going on in there. Because this is not the first time we have talked about the lore of Animor.
The lore of Animor.
Analorphs? Is that a thing we could do?
I think you just cracked it, Chase. I think you just cracked it wide open.
It sounds a little harsh coming out of the mouth, if I'm being honest. But
why not?
Hey, listen, I know what that all just sounded like is going to be different than what we're really doing here, but hello, it's video game podtimism. Shockingly.
It is,
the Optimists video game variety show, where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming in an optimistic way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that fresh, hot, new.
Fresh, hot, new optimism?
Fresh off the block. Hi, my name is Chase, and let me see, what am I bringing this week? This week, I am bringing Defiance of Daylight Savings Time.
Are you a Daylight Savings Time denier?
I don't remember which one's which, but I want the one where I don't leave work and it's nighttime.
That's this one.
All the time.
That's this one.
Yes, I don't like this one. Whether or not that is daylight savings or if this is the end of daylight savings, whatever. Listen, Washington already fucking voted. We said we don't want it anymore. And the fucking swamp creatures out in D.C., they just won't say okay because apparently we need government approval to do that.
How come Arizona got it?
I don't know. They must have gotten approval at some point. What's your name?
My name's David, and this week to the podcast, I'm bringing these sweet shades, baby.
Yeah, David has opted to record the entire podcast in a like augmented reality filter in Zoom where he gets to wear sunglasses the whole time, which I thought was going to be a lot more distracting than it really is. It's very natural. You look very just sort of composed and normal.
It is who I am, I think. That's what it's really telling me. I'm meant to wear sunglasses at all times, especially with this fresh new cut I got.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just goes together. The whole outfit is working.
It does go pretty hard. Yeah, I like that.
And the filter works surprisingly well. Like it follows my face. Whatever technology Zoom is using, they're really going to be able to scan my retinas to make sure I am who I am when they're scanning the footage for me whenever I do something wrong.
Whenever Jeff wants to see if you're using the metaverse correctly.
Jeff's part of the metaverse now.
Oh, yeah. That was sort of a dark vision of the future. I met Mark, but maybe Jeff too. I bet Jeff's got his own fucked up plan for it.
Jeff, Mark, Elon. They're all in the metaverse. They're all there
They're all in it.
watching.
Hey, have you been playing video games?
I have been, Chase.
Do you want to tell me about this, please?
Oh yeah, I can. So did a little bro time over the weekend. Did some Back for Blood.
We played some video games.
Yeah, with you and Garen and Drew. Well, I did Drew and Garen on Splitgate, and I did you and Drew on Back for Blood. So it was great times. Great times had by one and all, truly.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed playing those games. Yeah,
super fun. Yeah, I think we've already talked about those games enough.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. The next game I've been playing is a new game.
Tell me.
I've started this week. It is Halo 5.
Whoa.
Guardians.
I don't know why I thought like you just got like an advanced copy of the new Halo game. I cannot remember which one they're on. I'm like, you on that new Halo tip? How'd you do that?
I know Bill.
You and Bill go way back. How is Halo 5? Are you playing multiplayer? Are you playing the campaign? What are you doing?
I'm playing the campaign. I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Halo 4, the last Halo I played, came out in 2012.
Yeesh.
Which is almost a decade ago now.
Yeah.
It came out on the Xbox 360. For some reason, I was certain that it was a much more recent game than that, but it was absolutely not.
Yeah.
I think it was like one of the last games to come out on 360. So this was kind of big for me.
Okay.
I forgot how much I think Halo and that world and that story kind of meant to me.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been really nice to get back into it and just see all the characters again and just feel that definitive Halo gameplay once again. Truly. And just all the guns, just wear them like a pair of old pants, just putting them back on. Just no problem. Just like I wore these a decade ago, but I've worn them out in all the right places and they are ready to go. Ready to go.
You got a pair of Levi's that are just like they cling to your body in a very comfortable way.
These are the only person that these will fit are me at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember when this game came out. I never had an Xbox One, which is why I never played this game.
Yeah.
I remember the criticism was that you don't play as Master Chief that much. I'm probably a good 5 hours into the game, I think, and I played as Master Chief quite a bit. But it's not like it's any different when you're not playing Master Chief. It's still Halo. It's still the same game.
Yeah.
I get that people are attached to Chief and everything like that, but I don't think that's a good. It's not a super valid reason to criticize it for me because the people that you play as besides Chief are still very much involved in the story and pushing it forward. So I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I didn't realize that Nathan Fillion's in it again.
Yeah,
reprising his role from ODST. I'm like, when did he become a Spartan? I missed some sort of novel, I'm guessing.
It's critical to the lore.
Him becoming a Spartan somehow, which I thought were only supposed to be kids because they do like genetic stuff to you. I'm all very confused, but it is very funny to see Nathan Fillion's head perfectly rendered onto a giant Spartan body. Yeah. And by funny, I mean oddly terrifying.
Uncanny. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like Captain Hammer come to life. If that's not too deep of a pull.
No, I get what you're saying.
But yeah, I mean the voice acting is really good. The cinematics are really good. It still looks really good for being a game that came out 4 or 5 years ago. Is that right?
I feel like it was like 2015, 2016 is when this one came out.
Really?
I think so.
Damn. So yeah, a good while ago. It still looks pretty impressive, I think.
I feel like those past few Halo games have like really some of those cutscenes were like, Jesus, this looks really, really good.
I remember Halo 4's cutscenes on 360 looked better than a lot of the games that honestly come out nowadays still.
Yeah, no, it's nuts.
Those were absurdly good graphics in those cutscenes in that game.
Yeah.
And they definitely kept on going with this one. So they put a lot of work into this game, clearly. Yeah. And I'm having a great time with it. The shooting feels great. Yeah. The vehicles are as fun as ever. There was one mission where you can either traverse through on foot or you can go and use this new vehicle that we have. I'm just like, who chooses to go on foot? What video game player is going to not choose like the hovercraft alien ship
to
go through?
I'll
walk, please.
Don't worry about
it's fine. Someone else take it. No, that's mine. I'm in it.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. But just so fun. It really is just a joy to play through right now.
I do I underestimate how much I like those games. I think it's a combination of things. Just like my taste in games has broadened since being so into Halo. There's a time where that was it for me.
I remember.
Yeah,
I remember
shooting dudes was it.
two
And,
summers of the summers of middle school, I think, were Halo.
big into Halo at the time. And like, I think for better or worse, lump that experience in also with the like Call of Duty experience. And I think Halo has a lot more to offer than Call of Duty does in hindsight. I think it's a lot easier of a thing to appreciate. And it's also just like a really good game. Sometimes I will like judge my own like game history of like, well, Halo's for, you know, I don't know, basic gamers or something. I don't know. It's a very stupid judgment, but like,
sure,
it is a really good game. It feels really fun to play.
They got the feel to all the guns down. Each gun
So
feels
good.
different. And they have so many different guns, which is pretty impressive. And they have like 3 different races of guns in this game now, and they all feel unique with each one that they have.
For sure. And like, there's definitely a little bit of hoorah in there, but it's also like so sci-fi in a way that is not present in a lot of other shooters that I really enjoy.
I forgot how sci-fi the game is.
Yeah.
Which I was really appreciating.
Yeah.
Because I haven't had a good like high sci-fi game. If there's like high fantasy, I feel like Halo is high sci-fi.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Because they really base try to base everything in like some sort of underlying science.
Yeah, there's no like magic or anything.
Yeah, it's not like Star Wars or Mass Effect where it's like, oh, there's also space magic. It's like, no, it's just technology, which I really appreciate. And something else I forgot I appreciate about Halo is that just how quiet it can be sometimes when you're when you're fighting, where it's just like all you hear are the enemy's voices, your team's voices, and then like the guns. There's like no music in the background, no like crazy sound effects. It feels kind of like empty and cold, but like in a very engaging and space war-y way, which is fun.
It feels intentional rather than like they forgot to put music here. It's like, well, they had the big moment a couple of minutes ago where the music was crazy, and now it's like a little bit more quiet and intimate and like kind of scary in its own way of like, I'm just out here fighting these aliens. That's it.
Just like, this is the cold reality of war. Welcome.
Without invoking like, also we're in Afghanistan or something. Like, it's like you're on the Halo ring, man. Like there's enough of a distance between you and like reality. It can just be violence for like kind of that sake without it being like here's a reminder of reality.
Also, it's aliens and not people. Which
it's like I feel like we've talked about this a little bit before, and especially in the like Last of Us 2 section, where it is harder to make violence worth it when it is so tied to reality. It's so much easier to just say like, you know, aliens, and they're bad aliens, they want to kill you. It's so much easier to just be like, yeah, okay, let's go have some fun shooting guns, that's fun. Versus like, okay, here's the Vietnam simulator. Yeah, feels bad, man.
That's tough nowadays. But yeah, I'm excited to play through the rest of this game. Yeah, it's definitely got me hooked, and I'm still impressed by just how well it strings along the different levels. Like, it never feels like a level overstates its welcome. You're always kind of constantly doing something new and interesting. You never have to like grind. It's very well paced so far. Yeah, for sure. I think that's present in all of the games. I like in most of the games, I will be very like going from one level to the next. I'm like, oh yeah, this one. Oh my god, this level. Like each one of them is memorable because they're so well paced and like they feel significant unto themselves. Yeah, it was just one of those games where it's like I downloaded it from Game Pass. I'm like, oh, you know, Halo Infinite's coming out soon. I might as well like catch myself up on the story. I never played this one. Yeah. And so I just downloaded it and booted it up. I'm like, okay, let's just like hop in. And like 5 hours later, I'm like, oh my god, what happened? So definitely Halo. Yeah, it just definitely grabbed me. And also just one more quick shout out, how subtle and great it is when Halo changes to a new level and it just adds the black bars on top of the screen, and then just like the white lettering of the next level's name comes up on the bottom. Oh god, iconic, man. So good. Just gets me ready. I'm just like, all right, new bunch of things to do. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm here. I don't know. The sensation of it is very specific, and I'm always very excited to just like fall into whatever world they've built. Yeah, it's like nostalgia and anticipation and kind of just like joy with weird amalgamation that's very unique to that one like visual trigger. It's weird, but it's fun. I mean, I think that I've seen that in other sci-fi before, and I'm like, this just works. It works really well. Like I think that's probably a testament to the pacing that the game sets you up, and like you're in the right headspace to be like, okay, cool, another great level is about to happen, rather than like it's just nonstop action the whole time. Yeah, it's good. It's a very good video game. Yeah, I'm here for it. I have also finished Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh my God, really? Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a shocking turn of events. I was expecting to hear updates about Kingdom Hearts 3 like through the rest of the year.
No, so something very surprising happened.
Did it get good?
It got good.
Oh my God, how?
The
How did this
last like
happen?
10 hours of the game
We're good.
were very good.
Oh my
Very
God.
good.
That's
Almost
a shock.
close to excellent, but very good, in my
Wow.
opinion.
Okay, cool. What I mean, without spoiling too much, like what changed?
What really I think is what changed is that they clearly spent more time on this portion of the game.
Yeah.
And they took a big step away from the Disney aspect of it
Yeah.
and leaned much more into the Final Fantasy anime aspect of it, which
Yeah.
is really where Kingdom Hearts shines.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first half, maybe like 60% of the game, like I think I remember hearing this from people's criticisms, but it's just too much. It's too much Disney.
Yeah.
It loses sight of what Kingdom Hearts themes are, which are like the friendship and the struggle of these people across years and years and years against this giant like overarching enemy. Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the first the first 60% of the game, you're kind of wandering around the worlds with no real purpose or agency of like, why am I going to this world now? It's just the next one on my mini map that is appropriate for my level. So I'm going to go here. It's not like you have any purpose or reason to visit this world.
There's not very much like urgency or anything.
No, that's the weird part though, is that there is urgency, but there's no reason in particular to go to one level, to go to the next level.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And sometimes like the game will just like leave you in a level and just be like, all right, your objective is explore the world. But you've already beaten the level, and the way that you proceed to the story is by just exiting out to the greater like space map and selecting the next world. But it doesn't tell you that. It's just like, okay, do whatever you want. And in some ways it just takes takes the rails away too much, and it just kind of confuses you, like, okay, where am I supposed to go now? Sure. Sort of thing. And that's present a little bit in the last part of the game too, but everything else is just so much better that it doesn't make as much of an impact.
Sure. Yeah.
And I also found that this is my
my pro gamer tip of the week
for anybody who is gonna try to play this game.
Okay.
Is only do the fights that you have to do.
Okay.
There are so many just streams of heartless punches. Like you know how like if you're in a regular Kingdom Hearts game, when you're moving along through the level, there's very like one predetermined pathway through, of course. Yep. Heartless will just randomly spawn.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Don't fight those ones. Don't fight them. They take too long to fight. All you're doing is smashing A the whole time.
Okay.
They don't really engage or challenge you in any meaningful way, and they don't do anything for the story either. And the amount of experience you get from beating them isn't very significant.
Yeah.
So all they do is their purpose is just to kind of extend the playtime, but it's not like fun playtime.
It's neither mechanically rewarding nor narrative or fun rewarding.
No, like if you want to like try out a new Keyblade, sure, like go through a bunch of them, but it just feels like there's too many of those heartless swarms when you're trying to get through a level, when there's always going to be like one big like mini boss heartless with his little minions around him that you have to beat at the end of one of these streams. That's going to give you way more experience and actually is going to advance the story. Yeah. So if you decide to play it, that'd be one of my big recommendations. Just kind of skip the ones that are just popping up out of the ground. You can just run by them real easy and then just fight the ones that it makes you fight.
Yeah, the ones that matter.
Yeah. Also, I think what changed is that the last two like worlds I went to were just way more engaging and interesting than any of the other worlds. Like the previous couple that I had done before I got to where I thought it started to get good were Arendelle, which is Frozen, and then the Land of Corona, which is Rapunzel. So both of those had very long musical numbers in them. And well, actually Frozen had long musical numbers, whereas the Land of Corona just had essentially like 1-to-1 recreations of the movie in the game, with just like not as good voice acting and not as good visuals. So it's like, it was very confusing because, you know, if I want to watch the movie, I'll watch the movie. I won't play the game. Yeah. Right. Why are we spending 5 minutes watching you 1-to-1 recreate this scene from a movie in Unreal Engine 4 when I'm trying to play
Very
a game
bizarre.
and not
Yeah.
watch this movie, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like some Disney executive had the idea to do this or what, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it
Yeah.
one bit. Like
Sure.
I had to watch all of Let It Go in Unreal Engine 4. Like literally 1-to-1 recreation of Let It Go from Frozen in Unreal Engine 4, just with Donald, Goofy, and Sora's reactions spliced in. At the end of it, Sora says, I think I'm quoting this verbatim, but wow, I don't know what I just saw, but wow. And that's his reaction to Let It Go.
That
sung
sure
by
was
Elsa.
that was a Frozen, wasn't it, everyone?
Yeah, it was a Frozen. And then there's another scene where he's talking to Anna, whatever you say her name is, about like her relationship with Elsa. And it just does flashback to Want to Build a Snowman. So you listen to like half of Do You Want to Build a Snowman with the same thing. It's just recreated, the same animation. It's just an Unreal Engine. It's like, I know all this. Give me something different and new.
It's very odd.
Like that's not why I'm here, I guess.
And so you're saying it got better than this?
Yeah, it was on thin ice for a second, Frozen pun intended.
I was about to say, yeah.
And then we got to the Caribbean,
Okay.
and the Caribbean was good.
Okay.
It was good for a lot of reasons.
Okay.
One was it was clear that they had better technology when they made this level, because the characters in it were like photorealistic Jack Sparrow and Orlando Bloom. Yeah, it was the graphics were crazy in this one.
Did they get either of those dudes to voice this?
None of the original voice actors were in this one. They got a lot of the ones from like the animated films. So I think like all the people from Frozen were the ones from Frozen. They got like Zachary Levi from Rapunzel or Tangled or whatever it is. And I think they got a lot of the ones from Level I'll talk about after this one. But this one was just people did passable voice acting for the other characters. So it wasn't like
This is played by Johnny Depp. It's a
Johnny
different
Depp.
guy.
Did you know that Woody was played by Jim Hanks?
Oh, really?
So I'm guessing it's his brother or something.
Either his brother or his son, yeah.
or his doppelganger. But Jim Hanks really funny.
They couldn't afford Chet. He's too big right now.
So yeah, the biggest difference in these last two levels was the quality of the voice acting,
Yeah.
the quality of the graphics and the animation. The levels actually felt like an expansion on what like Kingdom Hearts 2 levels felt like, but just bigger, more detailed, more engaging, like what a next gen experience you think would be like. So the Caribbean was one. And you had like a big open map. You could go around in your boat, and like boat battles were a big part of it. And you know I'm big on boats. I'm big on boats in games. You could upgrade it.
Oh, you love a floating ship.
I love a floating ship. You could go talk to random people in Port Royal, and like they'll tell you about different islands that you could go and explore with like cool stuff there. So that was all really great. I loved it. Just like let you go and explore within like a fairly confined area, which definitely felt like an advancement for Kingdom Hearts, because Kingdom Hearts was always very linear in the way that you traverse the world. Whereas this one, they're just like, here you go. Here's a whole Caribbean Ocean to go explore at your heart's content.
That is compelling. Like,
Yeah.
I could totally see how that would be like an interesting twist on what Kingdom Hearts normally does.
No, it was great. And the ship battles were surprisingly fun.
Yeah.
And like you have all these special powers where one of them is just like you just like jump up on a giant water spout into the air, and then you just like zoom, like crash into like a boat and just make a big tidal wave. It was tight. So that was great. The Caribbean was great. And then the next one was San Francisco, which is Big Hero 6.
Oh, yeah.
That one was really good too.
I could see that. I really like that universe.
Yeah, it was great. And instead of being like just rehashing the story of the movie, they're moving beyond where the story of the movie ended and just like advancing the characters in the plot, as opposed to like Rapunzel and Frozen, which were just, here's the movie, and you're just kind of like interspersed in, which is not engaging for me personally.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then also the Keyblades you got from these worlds were the best in the game. They had the coolest form changes. They were the most visually interesting and compelling, I thought, whereas some of the others were kind of ugly. I kind of thought, not to put any like designers on blast, but I wasn't a huge fan of how some of them looked. They looked kind of dorky in a way, a little disappointing in that way. But yeah, the game just really got good. And then after you beat those levels, then it just gets full on anime, like Birth by Sleep style game.
Let's go.
Where they just get into the lore of Kingdom Hearts. And the last like 4 or so hours, I would say, are just that, which was really good.
Do you feel like it like tied tied up nicely, or like the narrative it was doing was good?
I would say I'm satisfied with the ending.
Okay.
I'm not totally satisfied with it because they don't fully resolve. They fully resolve the conflict, but they don't fully resolve the characters' storylines.
Okay.
Namely Sora and Kairi.
Yeah.
Which are two kind of pivotal characters that I would have liked to have seen their story resolved and not have to get the DLC.
Yeah.
But even then, I've read that like the DLC still doesn't totally resolve things. So we'll see if they're going to do another Kingdom Hearts 3.5 remix, redux, ultra edition, or whatever they do.
The Kingdom Hearts 3.0 S.
3.3.0 S, something like that.
Final redux.
New funky mode. But yeah, I'd say the last 5 hours where it's just like the original characters from the game.
Yeah.
And like the original Disney characters from the game, like Donald, Goofy, Mickey, are the best. Some of the best in the whole series, I would say, quite honestly.
That's so interesting. I don't like, neither of us have any idea how this game was made, but I do like it makes you wonder, like, did they have parts of this game built and then just like stopped for a while or something? Like the jump in quality there. I wonder if like some of these levels are like B-side levels or something, or if they had a totally different game that they had built, or if they just built the end first or last or whatever. But like, it's interesting. I feel like it's not that often that you see that sort of difference in quality over the course of a game that starkly. I feel like sometimes you'll see like, you know, the first half of this game sucks and then it gets really good, or the, you know, vice versa, or, you know, it's either all good or all bad or something like that. It's very rare where it's like a step up so starkly like that.
It really felt like at a certain point they got the PS4 dev kit and started using that. And then just like up-res the other levels. But yeah, I don't know. And it is kind of sad. Sure. Because I feel like there was a really good game in here somewhere. Yeah. Those last 10 hours or so were really good. I really had a great time. It still had its foibles and its inconsistencies, but
sure.
By and large,
that's Kingdom Hearts.
Exactly, right? It wouldn't feel like Kingdom Hearts if it didn't have that. But it definitely felt like a building upon what came before and changing it and making it better, as opposed to the other ones felt kind of like old and stale, kind of like the same thing, but maybe not as good anymore.
From what I played, it felt like those first few levels were almost like a Kingdom Hearts cover band that were playing Kingdom Hearts songs. Like, I was like, why doesn't this feel good?
Or Kingdom Farts.
It's Kingdom Farts for sure. Like, it's not a totally different thing.
Yeah.
It's not a game that is like influenced by Kingdom Hearts, but it's also not.
It ain't Kingdom Hearts. Yeah.
No, it was very weird. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like the game only gets better from there, I would say. Like that first Hercules level, I think was, oh, man, I just don't think it was very good, to be honest. I don't think that's, I think there are good parts to it. Like, I really enjoyed the big boss battle at the end. Yeah. But everything going from the voice acting to the graphics to how disjointed it felt, it didn't feel like good game design in that level. Whereas in the end, like, it really found its stride somehow. So it's an interesting game to play through. I would still recommend it, but just skip through the fights you don't have to fight and just move through those first like 6 worlds quickly to get to the good stuff, in my opinion, at least. I
mean, I'll definitely play it. I have, it's on my list of things to do this year, or at least in the early part of next year. Because it is, that does sound very interesting. I feel like you see that a lot more in like music or movies, where like you're like, what happened to this half of the album or something? Or it seems like they had maybe 3 good songs and they needed to fill out 10 or 20 or whatever. It's very rare to see a video game do that.
Yeah, and it just takes a lot longer to play half of Kingdom Hearts than it is to listen to half of an album until you get to the good stuff.
And you can't even you can't skip a level.
I can't skip the levels. I can't just be like, all right, next song.
Yeah, I'm good on the Frozen level, actually. I think I'm solid on this.
Also, just blast through all the gummy ship levels.
Yeah,
don't fight anybody. Just blast
that's usually my tactic.
One other thing I would like to say about Kingdom Hearts 3,
please,
is if I got oddly emotional when I finished it.
Absolutely, yes.
I finished it. I watched all the credits. I didn't watch. I was doing other things as the credits played because I had to see that last scene because there's a last scene, just so you know.
Absolutely.
And then I close it and I go to like delete it and I just see like Sora, Donald Goofy, Riku, and Mickey on like the cover art on the Xbox screen. And I just like got choked up a little bit.
Absolutely.
And I was just like, oh my God, this like 15, 16 year saga of my life is now over. Sora, Donald Goofy, Riku, and Mickey, over. But it's a good game.
I totally get that. And I suspect that reaction would not happen for almost any other game.
Yeah.
I've been like sad and like, oh shit, like this is the end of a series or whatever. But it's Kingdom Hearts specifically. These are your buddies. These are your friends. And your totally disjointed, weird story that you're deleting, and it's over now. It's very weird. Yeah,
I'm in a very tender spot right now regarding friendship.
Oh, hell yeah. Love that.
Very emotionally vulnerable when it comes to my friends right now.
Yeah. You texted everybody just like, hey, if you ever see like a door in a cave somewhere, don't go through it, man. Let's just stay on.
But baby, I will find you if you're in there. I will follow your heart with my heart because our bond is strong. I will traverse through time and space to get you back because we're buds.
Man, Kingdom Hearts rules. That's very good.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great. Sorry, I took up a lot of that segment because I just had to talk about Kingdom Hearts a lot.
No, anytime we bring it up, it'll be a long segment, and especially if you beat it, that's significant.
It's such a tender story when it comes down to it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Anyways, what have you been playing this week, Chase?
I've been playing some video games, and I will tell you about them now.
Cool.
I have still been playing Disco Elysium. It's still got me. I have found that this game is impossible to binge. I've wanted to play very long segments of this game, and I can probably stomach about a half an hour to an hour of it at any given moment because there is just so much of it and it is so rich that like I can't internalize enough of it at a time to just like totally blow through it.
Yeah.
There are games that are the opposite, like a Dynasty Warriors. My brain is essentially in the off position when I am playing a Dynasty Warriors video game. Whereas like in Disco Elysium, it is fully on. I'm so paying attention to what they're saying.
Yeah.
A, because it's worth it. Like the writing is absolutely incredible. And B, like you as the player need to conceptualize like what your next move is very intentionally. Because if you just wander through and you're like, I'm just going to talk to this person and that person and that person, and I'm going to exhaust every dialogue option, you'll stumble into being like killed by someone who just like said something crooked and it killed you because your morale dropped to zero.
Yep.
You got to be careful with what you're doing.
Yeah, can't get caught sleeping.
I will not be caught sleeping. So anyway, yeah, it's been really good and I'm really enjoying it, but I want to play it faster, but I physically cannot. My brain cannot handle more. I got through I've hit a couple of the like end of day sequences where you go and hang out and talk to your partner Kim on like the balcony of this hotel that you're staying at. And those sequences are so wonderful. They clearly were like, this is like a bookend to one of the days that you're having. And some of the descriptions are just mind blowing. Like I screenshotted one. I don't have my Switch on me right now, but it's like, it was essentially describing like you can choose to not say anything for a little while. And it just describes like you can see the reflection of the city in Kim's sunglasses as he's like smoking this cigarette. And it just goes into such deep detail about like the city and how it like feels and everything. Like it's just a shockingly well-written video game that I'm every time, like, again, I wish I could play it faster, but I wouldn't be able to absorb the level of writing that they have in there. So it's good stuff. I'm so really enjoying this game. I'm glad that I went back for another trial.
Yeah.
Because up until this point, I've definitely been like, I don't know if Disco Elysium is for me, but this time I'm getting it. It definitely feels a lot more like I'm meeting the developers where they were trying to get to, which feels a lot better.
Sure. Do you ever skip over the voice acting? Or do you, even though you can read quicker, or do you let it play out?
Sometimes if I like, there's like, you read enough of the like internal conversations that I'm like, I kind of understand what the person's about to say or how they're going to say it. But if it's a spoken character, like anybody that you're actually talking to, I feel obligated to listen to it because the voice acting is just so good in places.
Same.
Yeah, pretty much, especially whenever Kim's talking, I'm like, this dude is the best. And I want to hear whatever he has to say.
Yeah.
And like what's going through this dude's mind. I ran into the situation I bet a bunch of players did where the first night that you're there, you've essentially like destroyed your hotel the first night or the first morning.
The money. You don't have money.
You don't have any money. And like, I think it costs like the person who was at the front, like you owe me essentially like 140 in this world real, which is like dollars or whatever. And you go back and like essentially like at a certain point, Kim talks to you and he's like, hey dude, like it's getting late. We should go to bed. And you're like, I don't have 140 real. I think me personally, I had like $1, $1.50, like nothing.
Right.
And you go back and the dude's like, you have to pay me. And I'm sure there's some way you could convince him not to, but I did not pass that check.
Same.
And Kim's like, hey, just like, let's go to my car. I think I can solve this problem for you. And he like gives you these hubcaps that he's like commandeered from like a traffic stop, essentially.
They're like spin rims, right?
Yeah, they're rims. I like kind of asked him at the time, I was like, this feels kind of like not good that you just like maybe stole these from somebody. And he's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I didn't feel that great about it either, but they never asked me. Like, it was shockingly honest from somebody who is usually kind of a straight shooter, but
yeah,
he was clearly ashamed of it because he would have brought it up earlier had that not been the case. But the fact that he was like pushed to the edge and still like, I need to help my friend out or my partner here was just like, damn, this is some good fucking writing. And you go and sell it and it gets you plenty of money. And then Kim's able to like sleep as well. I'm like, God, this is a good fucking video game. This is a good video game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Let's see. I also played the game that we're going to talk about later, so I'll shelf that one. But it's fun.
It is
what I will say.
Agreed.
I have also played. Okay, so hold on. I was texted by friend of the show and my cousin Jazz, and he saw on my Steam profile that I've been playing a lot of Cookie Clicker, which is true.
Yeah.
And he was offended that I was playing video games and not bringing them up on the show, and so. Here for public
Jazz
trial.
Keeping you honest.
Yeah, I'm here for public trial to confess my video game podcast crimes. I have been playing Cookie Clicker and I have not talked about it because I didn't have anything. I don't have anything cool to say about Cookie Clicker. It's Cookie Clicker. That's the thing that I've been
all
playing.
Those times I smelled cookies on you, Chase, and you told me that you were just having a nice midnight snack.
Yeah,
you were lying to me. You were clicking the whole time.
I was clicking the whole time.
Clicking on the side. Your side click.
Yeah, my side click, exactly. So I had been playing Cookie Clicker a lot. I would essentially just leave it on my computer, like all the time. And so I've logged like something ungodly, like 300 hours or something in the past couple of weeks, just because it's literally always on. It's always on my computer. And Steam caught wind of this and they're like, whoa, this dude has some interest in idle games. And I feel like Steam has a pretty good recommendation for other games. I feel like sometimes game stores, like especially the PlayStation store, the Switch store, like the recommended games, I'm like, y'all, you can give me better than this. Switch is like, do you know of the game Mario Kart? Yeah, come on, guys. Like, throw me something that doesn't have enough exposure already. Or PlayStation's like, yo, we get this fresh new hip game. It's called Call of Duty. Do you want to play? I'm like, guys, there are so many games on this platform. Please give me something fresh. But Steam slides into my DMs and is like, hey, do you know about this game Sell to Singularity? And I'm like, no, I don't know what that is. And they're like, it's a free-to-play idle game. I was like, okay, talk to me. And so I downloaded it. And this is all based on my Cookie Clicker obsession. So it's a game that is similar to Cookie Clicker. It is an idle game, right? So you literally click. It's still based around clicking.
Well, you're not actually doing any clicking though. So are you cheating with these games, Chase?
I do.
If you're on video game trial, I'm bringing this up.
I will submit to the court that I use a script that I call Turbo Click. That when I hold down my left click, it just clicks as fast as the mouse will let it.
Just call it Bad Cats.
Pretty much, yeah. No, it's a hack. It's a cheat. So I just hold down the mouse and it clicks unruly fast. The games sometimes have achievements where they're like, what's that? What are you doing? That's not real. But they're like kind of acknowledging that you could use this and it's not that big of a deal.
Cookie Clicker's about to ban you for life, Chase.
You have clicked your last cookie. So, Celta Singularity is this game that I've been playing that is very weird. It is definitely an idle game, but it feels like it has about 5 other idle games stuffed into it. So the way that the game plays out is that in the first, layer, I guess, you click and you get, I don't know what kind of points they are, but essentially when you click, you get enough points and you can start building very basic life forms on Earth. And essentially the point of the game is to sort of go through history while building life, right? So you start with just very basic, like I'm building DNA in the ocean or whatever. And you work up to like different kinds of like cells and shit like that until you're eventually up to like...
Make that mitochondria, baby.
Exactly, yeah. So you're building up in that way. And each one of these things either increases how much you get per click, or it starts to automate the process where you're just generating points passively, which is where the idle parts of the game come in. And you go through that, and like a lot of it is just waiting until you can get a new thing, and then you unlock kind of what I guess would be like a skill tree. Like there's like a skill tree of like your mitochondria does 2 times the normal efficiency or whatever.
It's 2 powerhouses of the cell instead of 1 now.
Exactly. So you do that for a long time, and eventually you're making lizards and different little like creatures and shit. And then essentially when you get up to where the dinosaurs would be, a new idle game unlocks where it's very wild. It just launches you into like a very different game almost. Like you start and you click and it's like, now you have dino DNA and you can build a dinosaur. And you go through just like a bunch of different dinos, and it has the same sort of hook that a lot of idle games do where you can reset your progress, start over at 0, and you're faster for, X, Y, and Z metric or whatever. And that is going on in parallel with the other idle game that you do.
Whoa.
So it's wild. It starts to layer.
Is that you?
I heard you liked idle games. So it does that. And then at a certain point, you unlock intelligent life in the base part of the idle game, and a whole nother idle game opens up where you start inventing like thought processes, and you move into the Middle Ages, and you can start investing in like what would be like a civilization skill tree and shit like that. It's a lot. There's a lot of video games.
There's a lot going on in here.
I know. Yeah, I was like shocked to see just how like deep this all went. So that happens, which is all very fun and interesting. It looks in places cool and interesting and like very sci-fi. In other places, super janky and weird. And I'm like, you guys really phoned this part of the video game in, which is like kind of charming. Like the initial part where it's like you get to see the Earth and the sun, and it's like orbiting the sun. It looks gorgeous while you're doing this. But when you're unlocking like the skill or the technology tree, it just like shows you a static 3D image of a drone. And it's like, here's the skill tree. This is what it looks like. And it looks so different compared to the other one. So I'm like, there was definitely a prioritization and a triage of like, let's just get the stuff that people see the most out there.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is fine. I don't mind that shit at all. Anyway, eventually you unlock the Singularity. As in the skill tree, which totally resets all your progress. You go back to 0.
Wait, what is the Singularity, Chase?
It for somebody who doesn't know, the Singularity is where like I think artificial intelligence becomes smarter than biological intelligence and just like essentially breaks the universe, if I remember correctly. And so the simulation that you're running, that's like the pitch of this game is that you're running these simulations to essentially understand how humanity evolved, breaks, and you have to start over. And that's like part of the game. It's not like a bug or something. But then you unlock another idle game where you start building the planets and shit like that. And at any given point, you have about 3 to 4 separate and connected idle games that are running.
Whoa.
It's just nuts. This game is wild. And so I don't know what to think of this game. I think I like it, but it's also like there's a lot in here. There is a lot of video game here.
Yeah.
So a very odd experience, but it's again another great Steam rec. I hadn't heard of this game at all. I think it was like a mobile game first, and you can feel that. There's some places where it's like if you buy a boost, it can go faster. And I'm like,
I got turbo click.
This is fine. And I'll just leave this on my computer all day. It's fine. I'll come back to this in 12 hours and see where we're at. But yeah.
12 hours.
Absolutely. Because then you got a lot of money built up over 12 hours. Because I'm not doing anything. I just leave it going. It'll do itself. It's good stuff. I like this game. The next game I've been playing, and I'll just touch on this quickly, is Animal Crossing. I'm back in the Animal Crossing.
Oh, there's a big update recently, wasn't there?
There was a very big update. There were two things that happened. One, there was just like a base game update where like a bunch of shit changed. They added a bunch of stuff. You can do new things, and like there's a little bit of an update there. Brewster is now in the museum, so you can go get a cup of Joe and hang out with Brewster, which is
Brewster,
very cool.
Is he a barista rooster?
That's exactly what it is.
Hell yeah, it's a good name.
It's very good. He's got a very cool vibe about him, so I love Brewster.
Of course, he's a barista. It's gotta be cool.
Yeah, it's very good. He like kind of talks. He has a very low voice, but he talks very quietly, which I really like. And then the other thing that they added was this expansion pack that's like on top of the normal game called I think it's the Happy Home Creator or something like that. Essentially, the pitch of it is that you can get a job where you are a vacation home designer.
Oh.
And essentially, you'll go to this other island and there will be a bunch of people there. And they had like the company hires you to design homes for them for vacation homes. And all of these, animals will be like, I want a home theater vacation home. And so you'll go there and the game like essentially just takes the guardrails off. And it's like, listen, we're going to let you put whatever the fuck you want in here. There's no limitation to like money or anything like that or anything that's like normally present in the Animal Crossing game. Like there's no friction in there. You can just do what the fuck ever and just design it. Just like make it whatever this person wants. And they have like a list of things that they need. And they're like, I really want this, that, and the other thing. And then the rest of it's kind of up to you. It's just so much fun. This is a really cool idea for an Animal Crossing expansion where they take what is normally the challenge of the game of like, I need to be patient and buy the items that I want over time. And I need to save up my money and expand my house. They take all of that and put those at button clicks and just allow you to like make a bunch of those, which is really, really fun. I'm really enjoying this game.
All right.
I guess I should say this expansion to the game. They eventually also, you're able to unlock like bigger spaces. So rather than just doing a vacation home, the first like big one you unlock is like a school that you can build, which is very, very fun. Like just the design considerations that you need to change there. That's really good.
That's cool.
I think the next one is like a cafe, which I'm very excited to build. Like it's just, it's great. Like
Trace Fay.
It's very good.
Chafe.
So I'm way into it. There's not much to say. I feel like if you're on the internet or you listen to other video game podcasts, you are either well aware of what is cool about this game or you yourself are playing it and you know why this is all good. But I will add my voice to the chorus of people saying that this is a very good Animal Crossing expansion. Yeah, that's all I had to say on that one. It's very good.
Nice.
The final game that I've been playing this week, and the one that I want to praise the most, is this game called Unpacking. It's on Xbox Game Pass.
Okay.
It's really good, this video game.
Okay.
So the mechanics are straightforward. Essentially, the pitch of the game is that you are looking at a room from like a 3D pixel perspective, so it's like kind of top down in the corner. It's a fixed camera, and like the graphics are like gorgeous. It's very detailed pixel art of a room, and they present you with a handful of boxes, and when you click the box it opens up, and then when you click it again you take out an item, and it's like one of a personal item, right? So like you pull out a pillow or a stuffed animal or a DVD or something like that. And you just have to put them in this room that you're presented with somewhere. There are a number of places that are like acceptable places, and you'll figure that out at the end of the level, where like it'll say, hey, the DVDs shouldn't go on your bed or whatever. They'll just highlight it in red, and they're like, find maybe a better place for this. And that's the game. Like that is the mechanics of that game.
Oh my gosh.
Are that's it. Like you're just supposed to take things out of the box and put it into a room.
Oh, Ding Boy.
This game,
Ding Boy is here.
This game is so good because it is so much more than that.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Essentially, the first level that you play, the first thing that happens is you click, yes, let's go. And then it presents you, I think, with the number 1997. And then it gives you a room. It is clearly a child's room, like definitely a kid's room. And the stuff that you're taking out are things that belong to a kid. It's a lot of stuffed animals. It's like, pens and paper and school books and shit like that. And you're like, okay, I don't know what this game is, but that's fun. Like it's fun putting away, the belongings of a child, right? Like you get to put them all in drawers, and there's a bunch of toys you can put out, and like you get to put their stuffed animals away, and like it's chipper and fun. The second level that you go to, I think it jumps ahead to like 2004 or 2005 or something like that. It presents you, and it takes a second, but you're like, oh, I think this is a dorm room is where I'm looking at now. And you open up the boxes and there are like familiar items, right? You're like, okay, I remember this stuffed animal, and like the way that they have packed the sponges are familiar to what it was before or whatever. And there's like a newer room too. It's not just the bedroom now. It's like also the bathroom. And so it becomes pretty clear pretty quickly, like, okay, I am playing as one person. Like this is a single character that I am inhabiting right now. And the way that the game plays out is that I think there's like 8 levels, and you move through essentially this person's life as they're unpacking things from one house to the next. It is so good and so effective in just these very simple ways of doing this. There's a plot to this game, which is shocking, right? Like there's no cut scenes. There's no like moments of like a lot of dialogue. You'll get a little bit at the end of the level where in any given room, you take a picture essentially, and the character will comment on it, but it's sparse as hell. They're usually like, I'm so excited to have my new space, or it's cool in college, I'm excited, or something like that. It's not like you get plot beats out of this.
Yeah.
But geez, like there's some really effective moments in this, just like devastating moments of like, oh, holy shit, I can't believe this is what we're doing right now.
Sure.
And the game also forces you to like make certain decisions about where things should go in a way that it's really like very effective. Like you initially a couple of times I was like, it's weird that it doesn't have enough space, or this thing has to go over here or whatever. But yeah, very quickly I was like, oh, that's intentional. I see what they're doing here. They're like making a statement about what's happening in this person's life right now. That is incredibly effective. Like it's only through the mechanics that they are making these points.
That's cool.
It's really good. You get to learn a lot about like who this person is and like the people she's cohabitating with and where she is in her life. I'm fairly specific. It's like a woman. It's only really kind of confirmed towards the end of the game.
Sure.
So anyway, I love that on the face of it. And I think that digging a little bit deeper into what this game is saying, I think it's like a lot of it is just about taking up space and like the effect that can have on someone. Like there are levels where you have abundant space and a lot of room and things like fit very easily and well, and others where you really don't, and there's a lot of friction and you kind of have to like rearrange shit, and it's not easy. And like how you choose to take up that space like forces you to reckon with your place in the world in a way that like happens in real life too, but it's so rare that people move that you don't necessarily always have to do this.
Yeah.
And so it's really wild to do it like back to back to back in these levels. And like, again, this happens in real life. And so I don't know if we've talked about this at all on the podcast, but you and I used to do like kind of like group therapy with one another and like a bunch of our friends. And something that I learned a lot in there is that a lot of people have a hard time taking up space or knowing how much space to take up. And so like in this game, in forcing you to do that, it feels like almost subversive and challenging in a way that I wasn't expecting. And that, again, like that happens in real life. People have a hard time like knowing how to like exist in somebody else's space, in their own space. What does it mean to like define a place that is your own? How do you even do that, right? And so it's wild that this game like forces you to look at that through the lens of someone else, but it's not hard to very quickly turn that inward and be like, how do I do this? Am I sort of like taking up the space that I think I should, or, do I show enough of myself, or, any of that sort of stuff. And it's very easy to forget that those are lessons that we learn over time, especially because like people don't move very often. You don't have to like rearrange your house very often, but it's like totally something that happens. And so I just thought this was like such a wild video game to be able to accomplish all this in a game that is literally maybe a 2 or 3 button video game. You move shit, you pick it up, you put it down. That's it. Like, you move from there's a button to move rooms, but like other than that, it's really simple. So anyway, I thought this was a very, very good video game.
All right. Sounds fun.
So I'm way into it. It's also super short. You can I almost beat the whole thing in a sitting. And it's also on Game Pass. So like if you have Game Pass, try it. You might like this may
yeah.
not totally be your thing at all, but like it was really effective for me and definitely hit me pretty hard a couple times. Like a couple of the beats, a couple of the rooms that you show up in, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is what's happening. Because again, the game only presents you the perspective of when you're moving in somewhere. It doesn't present you with any of the stuff that happened in between then.
Sure.
And so like you kind of have to fill in like what just happened, because you have 2 points on a graph of you're like, okay, well, this was the last thing I saw. Now I'm here. Like, what the fuck? What happened? And it sort of informs you over time, like with the stuff that you have, what might have taken place in there. So damn, Unpacking. I love this video game.
All right.
Anyway, this will bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week, David.
Yes, it is.
It is environmental storytelling.
I was about to say, it sounds a lot like environmental storytelling. One of Chase's favorite things in games.
Absolutely. I really like it. So environmental storytelling was, I actually don't know how old this word is, but I feel like it's brought up a lot in conversations when you hear people talk about like BioShock, or Gone Home is a big one that comes up when you hear that. Essentially, it's just like a game telling its story through the environment rather than like a story beat or a cutscene or text or something like that. You know, if you see in BioShock like a skeleton in a bathtub with a half drank, bottle of wine and a gun, you're like
a party skeleton.
Yeah, exactly. It's a party skeleton. You're like, I understand what happened here. It doesn't, you can sort of intuit what was going on. That happens a lot in Gone Home, right? Where you find this house and there are things about it that you can intuit what is going on in the story. And I think Unpacking does this to a very good and interesting and novel degree, where you intuit a lot of things that are happening in this person's life by the space that they're in and the items that they're currently moving around.
Yeah.
So it's great. I love when games do this. It's I feel like it was kind of a hot topic for a second. Like people were like, ooh, this is the new way to tell a story. And it's not necessarily the end all be all, but it is very cool when a game can just like nail it. Totally. And you don't have to like reach super hard to get there. It's just like, this is the way that we're telling a story. And it's very, very good.
Nice. Oh yeah.
I've been talking for approximately 3 hours. What is your Podtimistic thing of the week, David?
My Podtimistic thing of the week is Master Chief. Dun, 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 dun. He's so cool.
He's
so cool.
He's going to talk a lot.
I was just playing Halo 5 and I'm like, man, I was just struck by how cool Master Chief is and how much I just love the character.
It's very good.
There is just something about that character in particular.
Yeah.
It's just his design, the way he acts, the way he presents himself, just the whole mythos behind the Chief. I just love it. I really do. And I just didn't realize how much I missed it until I booted up Halo 5.
I missed you, Chief.
I missed you, Chief, baby. But yeah, he's so cool. He's so cool.
He's so cool.
He's so cool. So good. I'm glad Master Chief's in my life.
He is a very good example of a character that like, let's ignore the novelizations in a second. For a second, you don't get a lot of who Master Chief is or what has happened to him.
Yeah.
Other than like, this dude's cool, and like I'm cool with that. I don't need a lot. Like he can just be a cool dude. That's also a totally valid thing for Master Chief to be.
He kind of feels like space Captain America in a way. He's cool and strong and moral, and tries to do the right thing, even if it's against his orders. So I think that's what I really appreciate about him.
Yeah.
More than anything else. But he's just cool. He's just a cool character. And one of the few characters you could really call in gaming as iconic, not just like in gaming, but in popular culture as well.
It's a bummer that like it almost has a like Cheeto crusted sort of vibe about him sometimes.
Halo just does. Master Chief is different.
Yeah, I mean, if you go on Twitter and somebody has a Master Chief like icon as their profile picture, I'm like,
that's fair.
I don't want to judge, but I feel like I can sort of make some educated guesses as what's going on here. No shade if you do, just like there is a rough percentage based guess that I could make here.
Yeah. I'm sure there are like some Chef Boyardee shaped Master Chief noodles out there.
Yes, exactly.
Or Master Chief shaped Chef Boyardee noodles, I should say. Yeah.
Which is a bummer because like he's a fun character and like doesn't need to be that. That's just sort of like where the marketing was 15 years ago.
Sure was, yeah.
But like he's just a big, fun, strong dude. He's kind of like, if he was a little bit more chipper, he'd be a himbo.
Yeah,
'Cause
he ain't chipper.
He's not chipper, but like he's like, I don't want to call him dumb, but like he's just a big, like hulking, massive dude who like gets the job done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if he smiled and like talked and was like, yeah, Cortana, it's just this shit's gonna be cool, dude, but I don't know about no knowledge or nothing. He'd be a himbo.
I don't know about no knowledge or nothing.
I just like to eat. Me, Master Chief, love to eat. And that's my thing. And get the job done. Finish the fight.
Finish the fight. Yeah, he's got Ron Swanson vibes.
Interesting. I hadn't made that comparison before.
Do you feel it though? Do you feel it?
Yeah, he is pretty critical of local government. I agree with that.
Just government in general.
I should go read some Halo lore wikis. That's always a fun dive.
That is a deep hole.
There are so many
deep and too greedily.
There's so many wars that have taken place in the Halo universe that like you can just fall down that rabbit hole for a long time.
There's a lot going on in there. There's maybe too much going on in there.
Yo, speaking of long drawn out lore in sci-fi universes, do you want to talk about our main thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, it's Good Games.
We're back.
We're back. It is the segment where we talk about the okayest games of yesteryear and gush all the things that we love about them. And perhaps a subversive choice this week. It's not a game of yesteryear. It's a fairly modern video game.
Fairly modern, yeah.
So what brought this up is we were going to try and talk about Mech Assault, the game for the Xbox, the original Xbox. That came out in like 2002, something like that.
Somewhere around there. And that was a hard game to come by. It's not easy to play it per se. Yeah.
And so we said, well, what if we just skipped the whole yesteryear thing and we talked about a modern video game, a new Mechwarrior, because there's one that just came out. We're talking, of course, about Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries. That's the game we're talking about. That's the one.
That's good.
It's good. Let me hit you with a few hot stats about this one, this recent release.
Hit me.
Hot stats.
Okay, so Mechwarrior 5 came out December 10th of 2019, recently, for PC.
Yeah.
And then May of this year for Xbox Series whatever.
Series XS.
XS. Well, I foolishly purchased it on the PC and co-opted David to do the same, but then realized it was on Game Pass.
It was on the Game Pass.
But luckily enough, we got refunds, or we submitted refunds for them.
Thanks, Steam. I got mine.
Thanks, Steam. Nice. Yeah. It was like if you had played less than 2 hours, you could still get one. So that was caught that one before it turned into a real catastrophe. So I've been playing on the Xbox personally.
Hell yeah. Same.
So this game was made by Piranha Games, which also made Need for Speed Undercover for the PlayStation Portable, the PSP.
Well, wow.
Yep.
That's the most recent game they made?
No.
Oh, okay.
That was just one of them.
A long time.
Yeah. They also made Mechwarrior Online, which I think is just another Mechwarrior game that I suspect is online, as the title might suggest.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the very good Bass Pro Shops The Strike, which is a fishing game.
That's a very intense name for a fishing game.
Yes, absolutely.
The Strike.
It's very wild. I was like, y'all just fishing, man. This is not that crazy.
Huh?
Which, sidebar, I watched some footage of that video game. Oddly similar to Mechwarrior 5. The map looks very similar. It also controls kind of similarly, where
your
you
torso and your legs move differently than each other.
Yeah, your cannon on your fishing boat moves differently than your torso. So, just for context, the MechWarrior game, or the MechWarrior series, is fairly old. These have been coming out for a really long time. And so this one was made by Piranha Games, but they've been made by a bunch of different people, and very inconsistently are they made by the same people from one entry to another. The connective material between this one and the last episode we had is that I think it was MechWarrior 4 or something like that was made by FASA Entertainment. Some other ones were made by Dynamix and Activision as well. So a lot of people have had their hands on the MechWarrior 5 ball. I have a review from Game Awards. Which is a Russian outlet. Yes, Joe Video was not in on this. I don't know if Joe's still doing reviews.
I thought that Joe still exists.
I actually don't know. They have a website, which I've been to, but didn't understand
How
much
do you
of it, given that it
spell
was in
Joe?
French.
Jeux?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Joe. Anyway, they reviewed Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries, and I have taken their review. I've dumped it into Google Translate and then swapped around a bunch of different languages, eventually arriving back in English to just make this, the review process a little bit more fun, a little more chipper on us. So let's take a listen to what they had to say.
Okay.
Game Awards said, Robot War is a very simple game, and it's part of the famous clothing line. If you want to play and learn fighting robot magnets, you can hire Fighting 5 tenants, but I don't remember you being involved in this project, so I decided to attend more often. It was a night. 73 out of 100 for them.
That one felt unhinged.
It was disjointed in a way that I don't expect it to be. I don't know what's going on over there at Game Awards, but it seemed pretty wild. A little aggressive towards the middle, too.
I mean, it's very Russian, I guess, right?
I don't remember you being involved in this project. Whoa, okay, Game Awards. Chill. It's fine.
Yeah, chill out, guys. Chill out.
It's okay.
We're all friends here. We're all gamers.
We're all friends.
Gamers.
We're all gamers. Do you want to explain to me what this video game is?
Yeah. You are a mech pilot, a mech being a giant mechanical humanoid robot.
Yes.
Outfitted with all sorts of artillery and sometimes jetpacks.
Yep.
And you go around and you beat up other mechs or tanks or helicopters, and you defend things and blow things up. That's the main gist of the game. You're in a big giant robot and you fight other robotic things with your lasers and cannons and missiles and stuff.
Yes, I think that is appropriate that the mechanics of this game come up first, because I think that's mostly what this game is built around.
Yeah, the story doesn't inspire much.
Yeah, there's not much. There's like some. It's there. But
it's not. Yeah. It's not why you're playing this game.
No, definitely.
The mechanics are very deep, I would say.
Yes. Sidebar: have you played Mechwarrior games before? Are you familiar with this series?
I played a little bit of Mechwarrior back in the day. I think I rented one off of Gamefly once. It was one of these games I was like, I wanted to like it when I was younger, but I just couldn't really get into it. But now I think I'm at an appropriate age to appreciate Mechwarrior for me personally, at least.
The mechanics are heavy.
Yeah, I was about to say it's heavy. If we're talking about like board game terminology, this is a heavy game.
Yes, there's a lot to learn. I guess for somebody who hasn't played this, it might be worth explaining, because I was among a lot of these people. I think I played Mechwarrior 2 a long time ago, but had a similar experience where like I tried playing it and I was like, this is so over my head as like a 10-year-old. Mm-hmm. Essentially, a lot of the way that the game plays out mechanically is that you're in these giant mechs, and you don't run like you would in any other like third person game or first person game. It very much controls like a tank, where you press forward. Tank. Yeah, like you press forward on the throttle and you start going forward, rather than like in any other game, you just hold forward until you want to stop. Mm-hmm. And you get into these like fights with other actual tanks, which by comparison are very small, or like helicopters or other mechs and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And the fights are not frenetic in the way that I would like something like Zone of the Enders, where it's like hyper and fast and like nothing. It's like you are shooting at these people from like a half a mile away. Mm-hmm. And just like trying to reduce the damage that you're taking and shit like that. It's a very like methodical and almost like mathematical process of fighting other mechs. Yeah. Which I think when I was younger, I was like, actually, fuck this. I think I don't like that.
Yeah, I just wanted to go in and punch them.
Yes, which the game does not really offer a lot of opportunities to do. There are punching robots in this game, but they're not particularly effective.
Punching is not your main form of attacking. It's like a last ditch thing if you're like really close for some reason.
And so, yeah, I think expecting that helped, because I wasn't expecting like big wild explosions and shit like that, or like crazy mech combat. It very much like feels like you need to learn how to pilot this thing as much as as you can, which is fun in its own way. You just kind of need to get or at least I had to get my head right to like enjoy that.
Same. Yeah, it would have been really easy to just make the game like, oh, it's a mech game, but you control it like any other third person or first person shooter. That's not nearly as engaging as what they did. In my opinion, yeah, because you had to control the throttle. Your torso and your legs move differently from each other. So oftentimes, if you're not paying attention, you're like going in the wrong direction. You're like, oh, why aren't I shooting at this person? It's because your torso is facing in the wrong direction compared to where you're looking, and your arms aren't facing that way. So you just have to like turn around and just like totally reorient yourself. It's interesting. It's a different, unique way of playing a game.
It reminds me of kind of how people enjoy flight sim, where it's like the enjoyment is the mastery over a very complicated set of systems.
Yeah.
And like I don't think Mechwarrior is nearly as complicated as Flight Simulator. Flight Simulator is pretty hard if you're trying to like actually fly the plane. But by no means is it an easy game to control. But I think the same sort of satisfaction comes when you're like, I think I got it. Like, I think I know how to like pilot this thing pretty well. And like, so for reference, I played it on PC for about an hour and a half and then downloaded it on Xbox and played the first couple of levels over again because I wasn't that far into it. I was like, I bet I can just blow through these levels. And like the first time I played through the first level on PC, I was like, I feel like just so clunky and lost, and I'm not hitting the dudes I want to hit at all. And the second time I played through the Xbox, I was just sprinting through these levels. Like I know exactly where everybody is. I'm going to shoot you with my lasers and that's going to be it. Like no problem. And so it's obvious that like, oh, I'm getting better at this game. It's not that like, you know, because I was using a controller on my PC. It's not like the format was very different, but I was like, it's clear that the game is teaching you how to play it, and that's fun when you get better at it in a way that's like very, I don't know, it's satisfying.
Because when you're first starting off, it's like you're very clunky. You're running into like buildings and destroying
everything.
Them. I just like you think you're gonna stop, but you keep going. You have to like wait for your mech to slow down, or you hit the brakes. Otherwise, it's just the throttle just lets it keep on like coasting forward, and you just destroy something.
Yeah, you
like
run through a building.
Yeah, like the base you're trying to protect, you just like fuck it up, like blow up a silo or something. Happened to me. Felt bad. The poor miners on that planet were just like getting a shit day.
Absolutely. Yeah, I did the same thing where it was like initially kind of tough to control, but it does get better.
Once you start finessing it, it feels good.
Yeah, it does. Which is, it was not what I was expecting, honestly. Like, I think like the first hour, I was like, I don't know. I still don't know if I like this very much. And like, I suspect that the games that are a little bit older in this series, I still would have kind of a hard time with, but I think they've made it approachable enough that I enjoyed it. So yeah, why don't we talk just at like a high level? What did you think of this game? We don't normally talk about like modern games so much, so I'm not exactly sure what angle to approach this from. But like maybe just at like a high level, let's talk about what we felt.
I loved the simming of something that doesn't exist. Right. Whereas it's really trying to make you feel like a sim of a mech pilot, whereas mech pilot is something that is only able to be achieved in this game.
Yeah, for
if that
sure.
makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
The immersion is really good. So like when you like start a mission, it like rotates you around and you're like going up to the mech and getting in and going out into the level. It feels very purposeful in the way that they're making it feel like you are piloting this thing. You are not this thing. You are someone controlling this monstrosity of metal and ammo. And I think it just knocks that out of the park. Like like you said, the clumsiness of it, and just how you have to master the game to start finessing and feel good. So I think it offers like a good amount of challenge and skill just in the game itself.
Yeah.
And really does suck you in nicely with the visuals and the detail that they put into like the cockpit to just all the small like hissing and sounds of metal and clanking in the background and stuff like that when you're just inside of it or getting dropped off.
Yeah, no, it's great. It feels like a real life machine. Like this thing exists, which is nuts. I think I agree that they play with scale in a really fun way.
Yeah.
Like it's probably telling that like when you play through the tutorial, like the first thing you do is you walk out as a human, like right next to a gigantic like mech, like the ones that you would be controlling. And it really like serves to drive home like these are big killing machines. Like these are big monsters.
It's just like this big hulking thing. It just like walks out in front of you.
And it's huge. Like the sound of it is gigantic.
The sound design is quite good.
Yeah, no, the mechanical sounds of the mechs and shit, it sounds very realistic for a thing that is fake. Like, which is wild.
That's like I said, that's what I really find fun about this game. They're simming something that doesn't exist, which is cool that they can do that.
Yeah, it is. It's nuts. I also definitely appreciate that. It fully realizes stuff that is normally just like represented as like a fantasy, which is pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. So this is probably just like a thing for a ding boy, but I really like the like meta layer that they have placed on top of this game, where you're thrust into the position of being the captain of this like ship, like mercenary group, essentially. Because in the very beginning of the thing, your like dad gets blown up.
Yeah.
And like you're the commander now.
Sorry, it's not funny, but
it's the game presents it in a very weird way. It's like almost campy and like
it's corny.
It's
corny.
Yeah, they're making it look like this big emotional moment. And I was sitting there like, you guys didn't earn any of this. None of this is very good. But
well, I'm thinking like, was he the main character from the last game?
I think maybe, I'm not sure. These games take place over the course of a really long time. But yeah, like it certainly didn't hit very hard. But I was like, maybe they're just stage setting. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I didn't really take it all that personally. But point being, you're the captain of this like ship now that serves as like the hangar for these mechs that you have, and it's like a physical space that you can wander around in first person, which I really love. I love that they're kind of like nailing like you are on this spaceship. This is where you exist.
Yeah,
and then you take like missions that are also very very mechanically dense. Of like just the setup for the mission. It's not just like, okay, I'm going to launch into this place. It's like, okay, here's the contract that we have. And if you want to do this contract, you can negotiate, and you have a certain amount of negotiation points to like either get more money or buy insurance for your mech so that it gets repaired automatically or whatever.
Yeah.
Very chunky and chewable bits of mechanics. But anyway, the point being is that you are able to like launch into these missions. You come back and you've gained a certain amount of money that you can use to either like repair your mech or make changes to it, which all take time in the game. Like you say like, okay, I want to fix my mech, and it's going to take like 30 days or something like that. And so if you have anything coming up, like as far as like timeline goes, you may have to compensate for like, okay, well, this mech is going to be out of commission for that long or whatever. Or do I want to risk it and like just use it the next time because this is my good mech or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I like that it's very specific with that sort of stuff. Again, it's very, very dense mechanics, but it is fun if you can kind of like get over the hump of learning all of them, because that stuff is cool. And yeah, just like me personally, I love having like a place that I can wander around in, and like this is my base. I like hanging out here and seeing my gigantic mechs that I get to pilot. So that's pretty good. Plus, like, you know, there's different levels and you get to wander around the galaxy. That's all very sweet. Talk about like high science fiction. This one's very like there's not a lot of stuff that represents magic at all. It's literally just space war. Yeah, and like that's fun, and I don't have a problem with that. But it's very space bros are fighting each other.
Yeah. It's like very grounded.
Yeah, for sure. What else about this game? What else struck you?
I enjoyed the combat. Like you were saying earlier, it's very methodical and clunky and clumsy.
Yes.
And especially with like the lasers, the lasers will be, you press the button and it just like fires a laser for a predetermined amount of time. And you can like, if you miss, you can like swing the laser around. But if you're not careful, you will just destroy things. So like if you're playing a level where you have to protect something and there's like a tank right in front of like a giant like silo that you're trying to protect, you have to be really careful about where you're aiming and how you're aiming, because you could just blow things up and make things be way worse for you if you're not steady-handed there. So I enjoyed that it's a nice mix between this is really clunky and difficult to get around, but also being like, yeah, but you need to be precise and minimize collateral damage at the same time, right? If we're going back to like how it feels like it's rooted in grounded more in reality than like other sci-fi games. It's not like just blow everything up and just let the people deal with it afterwards. It's like, no, you have to be careful about how you are. You're about to be careful about how you're maneuvering and using this giant war machine. Yeah. So I thought that was a fun challenge. It's a fun challenge to consider all of those aspects.
Definitely. Yeah. I enjoyed that as well. I the first time I was like, are they just going to let me like fire on these tanks without really like doing a lot of damage? And the answer is no. Yeah. Like you got to be careful about who you're hitting and where you're shooting. They also like, I was tempted to, and I still think this is true, but I do wish there was a little bit more like difficulty variability Because the game can be pretty fucking hard and challenging.
Yeah.
That like I do wish it was a little bit more forgiving in places, or that you could change that. Because it like I would roll up on one of these settlements that you're talking about in like one of those first few levels where you're trying to protect these like bases, and I like get there, like my mech makes it to the settlement and it's already like 60% health. Like the stakes are very dire immediately.
They're just, it's getting messed up without you for sure.
Yes, and so like it's cool that it sets the stakes of like you really got to get in there. You need to make a difference here, and you can because you're this very powerful force. But also at the same time, like, could we just like wait to attack until maybe I get there?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a fun game. I was enjoying this more than I was expecting to be honest.
Same.
Like I think I had sort of the expectation that I got the last time I played this. And like mech games are such a specific genre. Like there are so many of these games. I was looking around Steam, and there are a lot of like mech simulation games where they all seem like these are pretty mechanically dense video games.
Yeah.
And so like this is by no means a small genre, but I think the people who play them generally are crazy about these games. And like I don't know of a lot of people who are.
Yeah.
And so it's very odd to come into this as like almost an outsider of like tiptoeing in, like, are these games good? Do I like these?
Yeah, what was that mech game that had like the $100 peripheral?
Steel Battalion.
Steel Battalion.
Yeah, that huge mech controller where there was like 100 buttons or something.
Oh, and it had
like
pedals too. I forgot about the pedals. Oh my God.
That is it feels to me like a natural extension of this kind of game.
Yeah.
Like on one hand, you have something, I don't know, like Titanfall or something like that, where it's like very much focused on the mech being kind of arcadey and fun. And like, I mean, fair shouts out. Titanfall 2 is a very good video game.
Great game.
A very good video game. And so like, I like that too, but it's very much on the side of like, this should be easy to control. Still heavy and big, but not nearly as much of a challenge as it is here. And but it is interesting and satisfying in places to explore the other end of this, where piloting it in real human life is hard, rather than just being like, he's a wondrous pilot in Titanfall or whatever. And then like you press forward and you click the right trigger and you shoot and win, rather than like, I need to be careful of like my movement vectors so I'm not like blowing into buildings that I need to protect.
Yeah, I got to make sure I'm not overheating and making my mech stall out on the battlefield. How much ammo have I been using? I have to ration that now because there's so many of these people I'm fighting.
Yes. Yeah, no, exactly. There's a lot to consider in this game when you're playing it.
To mention just all the individual damage you have to monitor for yourself as well. With
no, you can beat up pretty easily.
Yeah, you can't just, I mean, you can take more hits than like a helicopter or a tank or something like that, but they will still mess you up over time. Like they could take you down.
Yeah, no, you definitely have to be like careful not to just like run into the shit and like accidentally get shot.
Because you don't have great evasive maneuvers in this game.
No, you can run or you can not run or you can back up, and that's like kind of it. Like you have jet boots and shit sometimes, but you run out of fuel for that really quickly, so it's not likely an actual solution.
There's no dodge roll with iframes here.
No, you can't wave dash in Mechwarrior 5.
Imagine though, my God, a mech just wave dashing across the battlefield,
sliding across.
Metal Gear. Why hasn't Hideo Kojima made a mech battle game?
I don't know. That would be really good. I would really love that.
Metal Gear mech battle gear.
Oh man. After listening to the Great Gundam Project, which you should listen to. It's a very good podcast about Gundam. I wish this story was better than it is. If you're hoping to get like anything besides mechanical satisfaction out of this game, I don't think this is it. The tone and the theme of it is all very fucking hoorah and like, you're a big pilot with big guns. Burp, burp, burp. Burp
strategic
included
burp.
There. Strategic burp. Yeah, absolutely. That was on purpose. Like literally you're coming out of your hangar at some point. Your dude unironically says, mess with the bull, get the horns. And your like co-pilot responds, and she's like unironically like, yes, exactly. That is what's going to happen. Let's go get these fuckers.
Oh, no.
And it's not presented in a cool way. It's kind of just like weird and awkward. Anyway, I think that the tact that Gundam takes, especially in like the original series, is the effect that piloting one of these like death machines would have, especially on like, it's on kids. It's about kids. And
Yeah.
but even still, the effect of being just like overwhelmingly more powerful than anything else on the battlefield and just being able to like walk through a building would have an effect on someone. And I think like the story is a lot more interesting when you consider that.
Yeah.
Rather than taking the tact of like, let's play some like maybe heavy music and shoot your gun and mess with the bull, get the horns burp. So like
Cue the CCR.
yes, exactly. So I wish it was better because I feel like this space is like, it can be so cool. Even like Titanfall 2, a very good video game, doesn't really reckon with like, the morality of piloting a giant death machine, but it's still a very good story. It's concise and like does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
And so I do wish it was a little bit better, but I also think that is not what this game is trying to do in the first place. I think the intent of Mechwarrior is very much, at least in my experience so far with the series, is we want this to be a mechanically satisfying experience and like the rest of it's kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like that there's a place for that. I think just for my taste, I wish the story was doing a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. I think the story was just kind of paint by numbers.
Yeah.
As far as video game stories go, you had your basic conflict, your basic characters, but nothing truly engaging. But like we said, it's not really why you're there.
Yeah.
But it could be more. Could be more.
For sure. Yeah. I want to meet this game where it is rather than like holding it to a standard that like they weren't even trying to get to.
Yeah.
Again, like this, I presume that the fans and the devs know what people are coming to this series for because it is so specific. And like, I don't see a lot of coverage from like a lot of mainstream video game outlets being like, the Mechwarrior games are my favorite fucking, like it doesn't happen very often. And I think it's because this community is so niche and like the people who you're making the games for know exactly what they want. And so like big, huge risks aren't really a thing that have to take place, which is, it's fine. I don't want to dunk on a game for not doing a thing that I'm like, well, it could be this, but also it could be that. And it could be great.
Could be that.
It could be that. Did you get to the part in this game where you have to name your mercenary group?
No, I did not.
I maybe get there so you can name it a cool thing. Mine. I decided to name mine Chase Always Home Goods and More.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
What a name.
My headcanon is that I started this company to sell home goods, and then we got into the giant fighting mech war machine business.
How did that happen?
Just side projects, side hustles.
Just took a casual stroll over to the military industrial complex.
Yeah, you know how it goes. One thing leads to another. You're talking to some dude at a bar. He's like, hey, I got $1 trillion mech that I could sell you to start like taking on contracts. And you're like, I might as well.
Was that Revolver Ocelot?
It was, in fact, Revolver Ocelot, but he had the voice of Liquid Snake.
Ooh.
So I didn't know who he was.
So it was old Ocelot then. Is that how it is?
No, this is also, I mean, yes, he is old. He's Ocelot from Metal Gear Solid 2. God, the lore of that game is dense.
From 2.
There's a lot of shit going on there.
Okay.
He had his hand replaced.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because he got it ripped off in the first one by Gray Fox. And in the second one, he had his hand attached from the dead body of Liquid Snake. And then he gets all fucked up and their personalities merge. God, Hideo, I love you. I love what you're doing with the whole thing. Your whole vibe is so good.
Were their personalities still merged in the fourth one?
I don't remember how that played out. I think they were, because at the end of the fourth one, you have a fight with Revolver Ocelot and he like cycles through different personalities.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And you're fighting him on that ship? It's a fist fight, isn't it?
It is. It turns into a fist fight and like the health bars all change and the music changes to whatever game is like currently it's referencing. So like the health bars from Metal Gear Solid 1 come up on the screen when you're fighting his like original form. I love these video games.
MGS4 was so good.
MGS4 was good. That game made me feel something. Talk about the end of an era. Like I felt some stuff at the end of that game.
Truly.
Jeez. Wow. Anyway, Mechwarrior 5. I would, if you have like Game Pass, I think this is like definitely like see if this is your thing. Because I find this community almost impenetrable. Like I don't know where to start with these games, or at least I didn't. And so it's really nice to be able to like check in and see like, is this something I enjoy? But if you don't have Game Pass, like maybe watch a trailer or something. But I definitely feel like if you don't know if this is for you, it's kind of hard to recommend or say like, yes, this is a good game or not.
Yeah.
Per usual, we're not like a buyer's guide or a review podcast, but I also do kind of want to come down on like, did I enjoy this experience? I personally really did. But I suspect that mileage will vastly vary depending on like what your taste in video games is.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too, but I also like dense board games. And that's kind of what it felt more like at some points when you're learning the mechanics. Like you're very much confined to the way the game wants you to play, and you have to thrive within that. Whereas a lot of games nowadays just like, go and do whatever you want. Yeah. And that's how you make the fun. This is kind of the opposite of that.
This is the other side of the Breath of the Wild coin. It is very restrictive in what you can and can't do.
Yeah, but
to the nth degree.
Yeah, but still finds fun in there.
Yes. There's definitely satisfaction in being able to like get a grasp of these mechanics that they've put forth. I thought it was a good game. I had a good time with this. I'm probably going to keep playing.
I think I will too. It's fun to just pop in. The levels are pretty short, so you can just pop in and do something real quick and hop off.
Do a couple of contracts. I also really want to start getting like a lot of other mechs. I'm sure there are just like a ton in this game.
I bet so many. Did you see how many different paint options there are?
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
The level of customization. I was like, I opened that menu and then immediately closed it because I was like,
this is too much right now.
I cannot go down this rabbit hole. We'll be here all day.
That's real.
Anyway, cool. It's a modern game that we talked about.
I know, right? Look at us.
Hello. Hold on. Let me do my best Tim Rogers impersonation.
All right.
Hello, and welcome to the outro. That's pretty much it.
That's good.
Thank you. We're on Twitter. If you would like to reach us there, we're at Podtimism. Yeah. If you're on Twitter and you like to tweet, maybe consider our handle to do that at.
Consider us.
Consider a follow. I'll tell you, I know video games, and at this point, I think I know how to record a podcast. Still don't know how to fucking market this thing. I don't know what to say about Twitter. It's there. We have one.
We have one. It's there. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. We do stuff there. We tell you about the episodes that are coming out. Let's see. You can email us if you so desire. That is podtimism@gmail.com if you want to do that. We are recently on TikTok. Because why not? So is everybody else. Get over it. Which is great. We I would say have a modest following on TikTok, which by that I mean Garen, Jazz's podcast, myself, and Kim of Frog of the Week. Thank you for your support, Kim. Follow us on TikTok. So that's sort of what our whole vibe is there right now.
Man.
Yeah,
what a list! That's a power list.
I will say, as far as density goes, pretty dense in there.
I mean, I consider each one of those individuals as at least like 10,000 followers in my heart.
That is true. In my heart, we have 40,000 followers, which is a little bit egotistical considering that I am one of the people on there. So maybe I'll just say 30,000 followers and me.
And me, 30,001.
Yeah, so you can do that. No, you can follow us there. I don't know. We post some videos there. If you're on Twitter, you see the same shit. So if you're a person who is only on TikTok, then that is your outlet for us.
You're right. You are bad at marketing.
David, I don't know what I'm doing out here. I'm just swinging my fists in any direction.
I don't know what I'm doing either. So we're here together.
I've probably made a MySpace at some point that I've just forgotten about.
Ooh,
that is probably a real thing that has happened.
Gotta go for the millennials.
If you want to help this podcast out, there are two things that you can do. There's probably more than two, but these are the things that we say. One, you can review it on Apple Podcasts. That helps. I think it helps get recommended to other like-minded gamers searching for podcasts on the App Store.
Gamers.
Or more likely and certainly more helpful is to tell a friend about it in whatever method you see fit. Seen an uptick in that recently, so thanks. That is a very good way to get the word out because I don't normally search for podcasts, but I hear people say you should listen to this podcast. And typically I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. So that seems like perhaps a more effective avenue of doing your thing. So that's a cool thing you can do. However, the most important part of this part of the show is that you hear these words. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
You've done us a great service by listening to this podcast. We like making it. We love you listening to it. That was really Tim Rogers. That felt so Tim Rogers. Jesus.
Love.
We love you listening.
The gravel.
It's the gravel and the incantation, the absolute pause between those two sayings. No, yes, we actually love you listening to it. So thank you for doing that. Little indie the little indie cast that could. So yeah, thank you for doing that. Some cool stuff on the horizon. Couple of cool new things happening. So
oh yeah,
stay tuned for that. Very exciting stuff. Anywho, thanks. And David, do you have anything to take us out on? Perhaps some gaming wisdom?
Oh yeah, Chase.
Yes.
Open up your heart to friendship.
Yeah.
To connections. To love. Don't let your heart sleep. But even if it is, our connection is so strong that I will come and awaken it.
You'll travel through Disney worlds.
I will travel through Disney worlds and fight masked, robed individuals and free you from your own darkness and make you realize that friends are really all you need.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered that before. There's not enough media that's talking about the value and power of friendship.
It's true. And I feel like Kingdom Hearts just goes so hard in the paint for friendship that there really doesn't need to be anything else in media that...
That's it. You got it.
Kingdom Hearts has covered it all. Every type of friendship.
It is a very intense dosage of friendship and connection, which I can appreciate in these times. It's it's not easy maintaining a relationship over the internet. But look at us here, opening up one another's keyholes with our key blades.
There you go.
This is taking a turn that I wasn't anticipating.
I mean, I was going to talk about how it's great to love your enemies too, and see if they can see the goodness in them.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say that part as well. I'm going to go over here and dwell on keyholes real quick.
That is a normal term, Chase. That is a normal thing to say.
About people, though, I don't know that I know where your keyhole is.
It's in my
Don't answer. Don't answer. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. It's
all about the party hardy CNHBs.
Oh, we're going the Key Club route.
Yeah.
I really hope that someone else on Earth knows what Key Club is so that this joke doesn't fall on deaf ears, although I suspect...
It's a large organization. You were there at the West Coast conference.
There was a lot of Key Clubbers.
There were a lot of Key Clubbers.
Shouts out to all my Kiwanis old heads out there.
Yeah, shout out to all the Kelly Nevha. Where you at, bees? Where you at, bees?
Where you at, bees? This is a segment for no one. I'm sorry.
Segment for us, Chase.
That's it. If that's not the fucking the truest thing and the realest moral to take out of Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't know what is.
I mean, this podcast and Kingdom Hearts have a lot in common.
You're not wrong. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God, have we been Kingdom Hearts this whole time?
This is Kingdom Hearts 4. It's taken us 86 episodes to realize it, but this is Kingdom Hearts 4.
We're all about being optimistic and friendship and looking for the good in things. We're the fucking Kingdom Hearts cast.
We also regularly sing Simple and Clean.
We do. Oh, wow. If that isn't a case study in how much a piece of media can affect a child at an impressionable point in their life, I don't know what it is. Because look at us now.
This might be the end of the podcast now that we realized it.
I think this is the finale.
We may get pulled out of the simulation.
Until Video Game Podtimism 1.57, the Remind Dream Drop
Podstance.
Yes.
Another rough name.
Another rough name.
That'll be episode 87, so see you then.
See ya.
Bye.